Good afternoon. This is Ron Brown. It's March 1st, 2023, and I'm going to elaborate on something that I discussed in my last weekend report. I'm going to show you what I've been working on and how powerful this is. If you look down here at this line, top-down prospecting with group rotation, end of day and intraday, and this process is unique to HGS Investor software. I don't believe you can do this with any other software. Okay, standard risk disclaimer. Any stock index or ETF mentioned in this presentation is not a recommendation to buy or sell. All trading strategies are used at your own risk. Now I'm going to begin with Thinkorswim. Just to show you what kind of market we're in today. This is the QQQ. This is the weekly chart. I'm going to maximize this. And you can see that I've drawn some trend lines on here on a weekly chart. Now, this is somewhat of a fan, but what I try to do is draw a trend line from the lowest low. This isn't exactly the lowest low, but it's going to work for this because this is our strong move out. Lowest low before the highest high, which is right here, and that's where I put the trend line. And then I put another down trend line on here. But when I go to the daily chart, you can see this better. This is a low low. Here's the lowest low before the highest high, which is right here. And you can see that the trend has been broken to the downside. Now, this is a technique I learned from reading a book by a trader, Vic Sperando. I don't know if he's still around, if he's even still alive, but that's the technique that he liked to use. From the lowest low, from a low to the lowest low right here before the highest high. So it just doesn't run through a bunch of bars. This makes more sense to me. Anyway, it's broken down. Now let's look at the SPY. And you can see that this looks a little bit different. This, I'm going to go back to the weekly chart here. This is the lowest low here. Here's the lowest low before the highest high, and this trend line is also broken. And we're having another down day today. This is the comp. You can see that it opened here, tried to rally, and now it's trading down in this area. It hasn't taken out this low from over here. My point of showing you this is that we're in a very weak market, but I looked at a substitute for the S&P 500, the SPY, and a substitute for the NASDAQ 100, the QQQs, and this is actually the comp right here. So here's the QQQ, SPY. SPY, this is a much lower trend line. This is the lowest low before the highest high. I could have drawn a fan here, but I didn't do it on this. But you get the point. The market, we're in a downtrend on the daily charts and on the weekly chart. It's broken on both of these. But the question is this really the market? Well, it is. It's the market, but it's not the market. And what I mean by that is there's always a lot of opportunities both on the long and short side, no matter what the indexes are doing. So I'm going to bring this up, and I'm using some different charts today. These are my Williams charts. Williams charts named after Tom Williams. If a stock or if a price is higher than the preceding bar, it's going to be green. If it closes lower than the preceding bar, it's going to be red. So you can, it just gives a nice visual of trending. And then over here, this is the daily chart, and I put a group overlay in here. These you'll find under Williams charts. I'm using the thick bar charts. I put this in at number 5. I just want to show you when I'm doing this what the groups are doing. Now, I'm doing a manual update here, so I'm going to go ahead and update the intraday now. This is the process I'm going through to find out where strength and weakness is of both end of day and intraday. Okay, it should be about finished here. Okay, now I'm going to go into my designer. I always do this. I locate the industries. I'll take the filter off, and then you can see the industry groups right here. Next, I'll go under Tools, and I'm going to rebuild the indexes and groups. So I'm rebuilding the industry groups with current stock data for all of these industry groups. Next, I'm going to show you some variations here or different scans. But before I do that, I want to rebuild my user smart groups. The reason I'm doing this is a couple of these scans are based upon what's happening in the market today. I've got 3 different folders here of stocks and groups moving up and down. The first group, and it's number 11 in my files, this goes directly to the Woodward and Brown Stocks and Groups Moving Up Smart Group, which is updated nightly. And it's a little different than these other two, and I'll point that out to you, but these are the groups that we've been using for years for prospecting. Notice that when I click on here, there are 100 securities in here, and I'm in all securities. That's because it's accessing that group directly. So if I'm sorted on the raw combo, you can see that the combo is the industry's percentage price change one day, and that these industries are sorted according to that. Now I rebuilt the industry group, so this column now reflects what's happening today. But I have the industry here and the sector here, and you can see the percentage price gain and the groups that are contained in here. Now the reason I put these in here rather than going into the designer to locate these is because I wanted this sort to come up just like this every night when I'm looking at these, and I can just scroll down the list and see the percentage gain. Now this percentage gain right here represents what's happening today, because remember, I rebuilt these, but last night it was probably different. So whenever you rebuild the industry groups, it's going to change this column and this column right here, which is the 5-day column on the industry groups. Now what I'm going to do is I want to see which of these stocks are going up today. I can see which groups are going up, but I want to see which of the stocks within these groups are going up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this little icon here and disengage the combo ranking. That's what that does. And then, because the combo ranking is not being applied when I go to the intraday version, these stocks will not change in their order. You can see that the construction and mining is number 2. If I go back to the first group, you can see construction as mining is the number 2 group right here. There's a little different view because one is intraday and one is not. Now I can quickly see which of these, I know these groups are going up, but I can see what the stocks within these groups are doing today, if they're following through or not. Let's go up here and look at a construction and mining stock. How about TEX? Well, let's see. Now I'm going to go with Manitowoc because it is a little higher in its daily range. So let's see what Manitowoc is doing today. Get this out of the way. Manitowoc is going up again today. Now, here's the weekly chart. You can see that it's been on the move for quite some time. When I click on this dot, it tells me no supply. Clear back here on this one, then there was an effort to rise, and it's kept going. This had to be earnings news right here. Now, this huge volume spike here generated a negative signal, an upthrust. bar after an up move. It's just telling you that with this kind of movement, there are going to be people who have gotten in, or traders who have gotten in down here, that are going to be taking profits, or they took profits. And you can see that with this bar. It opened here, traded all the way up to here, and closed here, and the group was going down at the same time. But since then, on the following day, there was still a lot of volume, and this was a volume crescendo. There was another negative signal following up this signal, and then it changed on the following day, still on heavy volume. So here's the open, here's the close, and you can see that all of these bars are green because each day has been higher, closed higher than the prior day. So looking at this in Wyckofian terms, here's the effort and here's the result, which was actually positive but also negative at the same time. Anybody who chased it here got hurt unless they stayed in. Gap has been respected. It was not even challenged. So here's the effort, here's the result. So chasing it there would have not done any good, or it would be negative had you followed it up to the high. And then finally on this day, here's the effort and the result. So demand, supply. You can see that there has been more demand all the way up here, and with the group line here, you can see that this stock has been moving up with the group. It moved up with the group this day and then all of these successive days. Now going back up here, I'm going to reapply this. When I reapply this, it's now being driven by the effort versus result combo, and this takes this sort out of the industry groups, and stocks that are most in demand are coming to the top of the list based upon price and range and volume. Now here's one of those tanker stocks, TK Tanker. Look at this move up on the weekly, unbelievable, on these VPA flags, and look at the group move here. Group went up all the way up here, then there was a pullback, and here is effort versus result, and it continues to go up, and the group continues to go up. Now in that movie or video that I did over the weekend, I talked about the groups, or the tanker groups, what am I trying to say? Marine shipping. It's right here in front of me. Anyway, this marine shipping group has been going up, and it's been going up for quite some time. If you look at the weekly chart, you can see a series of higher highs and higher lows that did pull back here. But this is where this latest move began for TK Tankers. And it continues to go even today. Remember, we're in a down market today. This represents today. So once again, if you want to see what the industry groups are doing today, you just sort on this column right here. This group is up another 0.62% today, marine shipping, and there's 3 stocks that are showing up in this group. Now you can do the same thing with stocks in the group $1 to $15. You can see that the steel raw materials group is up the most. There's just one stock in this today, base metals. Oil and gas services. This was last night, I'm sorry, not today. So let's see how these stocks are doing today. First, I'll disengage the combo, and then I'll move down to the intraday. And you can see that this group is still moving up, oil and gas and services, but some of the stocks are down in their daily range. Let's look at Superior Drilling Products. Now, it really hasn't made a huge movement. Well, this is an inexpensive stock. Let me find something else if I can. Okay, here's one that's... Oh, that's the one I was just looking at. These are all really inexpensive, but I'm in the stocks and groups moving up $1 to $15, and you're going to find a lot of stocks like this. Anyway, the principles are the same with volume price analysis and group movement. Now, I don't want this video to get extremely long, so I'm going to move on to something else. Now this, I'm going to close this 11A. Stocks and groups moving up and down. User smart groups. This is at the end of the day, and these are the groups that I'm going to show you right here. 11A is end of day, and these groups use a different combo to build these. These are momentum stocks, which are momentum during today's action. So when I rebuilt the user smart groups, it creates these two groups here. Stocks and groups up smart group for $15 and up, and this is $1 to $15. These are stocks and groups down, $15 and up, and $1 and $15. So let's look on the upside because we're in a down market. Just remember that these groups that I'm showing you right now end up in 11A at the close of the market today. So you can compare the Woodward and Brown stocks and groups moving up to these intraday groups. These groups are going to be locked in to 11A at the end of the day, and you can compare. After you do your download, you can compare the WB Smart Groups to the groups in 11A. And you're going to see a difference because we're talking momentum here. So let's look at these stocks. Stocks and groups up Smart Group. These are $15 and up. Remember, I rebuilt the industry groups. These groups are up and these groups are down. But all of the stocks are up because that's a requirement for this. So where's my strength today? Intraday. Steel raw materials, refining and marketing, steel producers, oil, gas, and equipment. You can see these groups today. Remember, we're in a down market. So is this the market rather than the indexes? Well, it is today. And that's the way you really have to look at this stuff. So why don't we go into steel producers and take a look here. Now, as I go across here, here's Carpenter Technology. This information, these Wyckoff indicators are from last night, less than average, below average, and mid. And you can see that this stock crossed down, the 3 crossing down through the 6 days ago. And the same thing for the volume point of control. Yet it's up 4.90% today, trading at 100% of its range. Does this mean that this stock is putting in a bottom and turning up? Well, this is why I'm doing this with these groups, so we can spot these. You look at the scorecard across here and then see what they're doing today. So let's bring the chart up. Get this out of the way. Okay, you can see that it sold off. The 3 had not crossed the 6 yet, but if I put a 3-6 crossover chart in here, and I'll do that in a second, more than likely it's crossed over today. But looking at this, up 4.90%. This is a red bar here. But the reason it's red is because it closed lower than the prior day, but it's actually a bullish bar. Here's the open, here's the close, and volume was up a little bit. Now, these volume bars are being dwarfed by this, but it was above average volume because it's above the 90-period moving average. So that was the first indication that this stock, this is the one I want right here, was starting to move up. The group hadn't started moving up until the following day. So this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, today. You can see that the group is moving up. There are no VPA flags, but that you can look at demand and supply without that. So on this bar right here, let's make it full screen. Go in. Here's the open. Here's the close. Not much volume, so there isn't much conviction yet. The smart money really hasn't moved into it yet, or the people that really drive the markets. Now volume's picking up, still below average here, but look at this big bar here. So here is the effort, not much effort, but here's the result. So this is very bullish because of the length of the candle and also the fact that the group is moving up sharply. We used to call these wolf packs when groups move together. Now you have to be careful with this because we're getting up here in a resistance area, but had I gotten on this or anybody gotten on this here, this would have been a nice gain. Now let's go back here and look at this. In this run here, this was strength seen returning after a downtrend confirmed. You can see here's the effort and here's the result. Now, here's the effort. Not that much effort, but the result was still positive. And then here, there's more effort coming in. Here's the result. Effort closed higher than the prior one. That's why it's green, but there was some selling here. But then there was a test, a low volume test, lower volume here. Tested it and closed near the high, and it took off, kept going. And why is it doing it? Because the groups are going up. So that's why this method is important to look at both end of day and intraday, because we're looking at stocks that are moving with their groups. Not always the case, but generally. Now, just for the heck of it, let's go in and here's a 3-6 crossover and a VPOC crossover today. You can see it's green and the 3 crossed the 6 right there. So, and here the group is going up. So just by looking at the scorecard, you can see if these have triggered or not, and the ones with the high numbers over here, those are older signals. Now let's look at PBF Energy. Notice that the 3 crossed the 6 12 days ago, but the VPOC turned negative yesterday. So if I bring this up, it's going to tell me that there was a pullback yesterday, and then today it's starting to move up again. Not with much volume though. So little effort, but a strong result. So what does that mean? It means that there must not be much supply if it is moving up with that little amount of volume. Let's look at one more here. Here's Carpenter Technology, steel producer. I'm going to bring this up. Here's the weekly chart. Higher highs, higher lows, higher lows, higher highs, And you can see that this group was going down, and then it reversed here, gap down, closed at its high on strong volume. So buying was starting to come in here. I looked at this one already, didn't I? Let's look at this one right here. It's the same group, and you can see that this one came way down on heavy volume. This is a bottom reversal, and here buyers were coming in. Why? How do I know? Because the group is turning up, and here's the open, here's the close, here's the effort, and here's the result. On this one, there's effort and result. It started to move. Price pretty much was unchanged, and then again today, still trading above the 90-day moving average. Here's the open, here's the close, but the the group line is telling us what's happening. The group's up 2.41%. Now there's a lot of things that we can do with this. I don't have time to show them to you now, but we can take these. I'll just give you an example. I didn't look at the downside because I wanted to show you that these groups are going up in a down market. But let's say that I'm interested in stocks $15 and up, and I only want box stocks. This is just a quick example. So I'm going to go into my add-on, go under box stocks. These are all HGS box stocks. And if you look up here, there are 33 of them. They're still sorted on industry groups. And it, of course, tells us how much the groups are up and where these stocks are in the daily range. Let's look at Marathon. Get this out of the way and I'll leave it with this. So this has been a choppy group, obviously, fluctuating with oil prices and so on. You can see the group fell hard here, but it's been building somewhat, still in a congestion area, and here is a resistance right here. But today it's in this group because the group is up, the momentum's up, low volume test compared to prior volume, and it's well below the 90 period moving average. But this stock, had it been purchased early in the day, would show a nice profit. So this is a little choppy, but looking at the weekly chart, it's much nicer. Low, higher low, higher low, higher low, and higher highs. I don't particularly like this because of the congestion, but I'm just pointing out that it's coming up in this group because it is in the smart group and it's also in box stocks. So if you want to concentrate on box stocks, that's the way to do it. Let's do one more. I was going to quit, but I want to look at this global. Well, here's TK Tankers. I think I looked at that. Let's look at this one, which is global ship leasing. Look at this nice chart here as the group's been moving up. There's that pullback, and here's a shakeout yesterday, but as the group continues up, money came back into it today. This is well off of its high on the weekly charts, but it is forming higher lows and higher highs now. So big demand today. Here, big effort. The result, there is some selling in this, and that's why this is generating this, which is a transfer of ownership and an up thrust bar. This tells me that buyers that got in early are taking profits today, and that's why you see this bar where it is down towards the middle of the or the close, the current close, down towards the middle, because profit taking is going on. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. Like I said, there's a lot of things we can do with this, but the important thing is that we have access to seeing what is happening. Let me get back to all securities. Not only with end of day, which is 11, these in 11, and these stocks I'm showing you right now, when the market closes, there is you do an update, you do your overnight update, and these stocks that are in here are going to be showing up in this group right here. User Smart Group. They may not be exact, but they're going to be close because I'm using the same combo on this going into the close, and it just gives you a look at the momentum stocks from that day, from the current day. I'll get more into that in another video. This one's just getting a little bit too long, but for now, you don't really even need to use 11A unless you want to compare at night like I do, but just look at the Woodward and Brown stocks and groups moving up, and then do the intraday groups if you want to see what's moving today on stocks and groups. Thank you for listening, and I'll cover this more as I go along. I just promised that I would get something out to you, and I did this.